Superhero sidekicks used to be the norm in the wacky world of comic book adventures, but in modern times, not so much. Robin, Wally West, Bucky Barnes, and even Harley Quinn are all examples of famous sidekicks. But what about the ones that we can't name off the top of our heads? Here are 10 comic book sidekicks you didn't even know existed. Snapper Carr is a perfect example of how quickly a character's popularity can fade. Originally an honorary member of the Justice League, Snapper Carr more or less became the team's sidekick, or a mascot depending on who you ask. Snapper was placed in this position by writers in an attempt to help kids connect more with the JL team, which was otherwise composed of adults dealing with serious issues. In Justice League of America Volume 1 number 77, Snapper turned on the Justice League, who I guess just got tired of being defined by his relationship to the Super Squad. Well, the Justice League gave young Snapper the boot, and his popularity has never rebounded since. There are two vastly famous characters who have used the name Human Torch. Most people hear the moniker and immediately think of the Fantastic Four and Johnny Storm, but this entry focuses on the original Golden Age Human Torch, Jim Hammond. OG Human Torch is a synthetic humanoid android type of guy, and Toro was his sidekick during World War II, which was also one of the very first superhero team-ups. Toro's backstory has been altered numerous times in order to explain his abilities and how the Human Torch's powers rubbed off on him. He's considered an inhuman now, and his sidekick origins have long been forgotten. Besides having a hilarious name, and despite the immense power of Alan Scott wielded as the Green Lantern, cab driver Doiby Dickles became the aforementioned superhero sidekick. Now, Doiby is no Robin by any means, but he is brave and has even pretended to be the Green Lantern in order to fend off bad guys, and he can hold his own in a fist fight too. The oddest part of Doiby and the Green Lantern's relationship is that he would often drive the Lantern around town in his taxi. The Green Lantern can fly. Fatman! No, this isn't a Weird Al parody, but there's actually a character in DC Comics called Fatman, the sidekick of Mr. America. Fatman, whose real name is Bob Daly, rarely helped his best friend Mr. America solve any cases, and instead often required saving himself. Talk about a damsel in distress. I cracked myself up. Fatman is incredibly loyal to Mr. America, but other than that, he's not very well equipped to be a superhero or a sidekick. But at least he's never turned evil like that jerk Snapper from earlier on. Plastic Man is a weird superhero himself, so it only makes sense that his sidekick is equally as weird. Where most sidekicks are brave and clever, especially if they don't have superpowers, Woozy Winks is the complete opposite. For the most part, Woozy just wants to stay out of trouble and serves as another comedic character to bounce jokes off of with the already funny Plastic Man. Woozy isn't entirely useless, as a superpower keeps him protected from anything dangerous. Woozy suffers from dumb luck to say the least. One of DC's most important superhero teams, the Marvel family, has had many different members over the years other than the standard Mary, Freddy, and the rest of Billy's adopted family. This next entry isn't one person, and I know it's weird, but multiple people who all share the same name. Back in the 1940s, the Marvel family was made up of various different crews, all of which also used the power of Shazam. The original Lieutenant Marvels were a group of other kids who were also named Billy Batson. The original Billy trusted his three lieutenants with his secret identity, which somehow gave them enough power to transform them into weaker versions of Captain Marvel themselves. Unlike the majority of the other sidekicks featured on this list, nobody knows that the Boom exists because she was just created very recently. The Boom was retconned into existence with DC's storyline The New Golden Age, alongside 13 other heroes and villains. The Boom is Judy Garrick, daughter of the Golden Age Flash Jay Garrick, and like her father, Judy has super speed. Judy used her powers to travel back into the past in order to help her father fight supervillains. Thanks to Dr. Manhattan messing with time, the Boom was removed from the time stream, but was recently reinserted because comics. In the Silver Age, Hal Jordan's sidekick was Thomas Kalmaku, whose name I probably just butchered. Thomas was a mechanic who worked with Hal Jordan at Ferris Air, and was one of the very few who knew the then Green Lantern's secret identity. Thomas did not have powers, and his job was usually to help out from behind the scenes, and prevent others from discovering that Hal was a superhero. Once Hal turned into Parallax, Thomas's appearances started trailing off, with the character becoming depressed that his friend could become such a monster. Brian Kinney came to Astro City with hopes of becoming a hero like the good guys he looked up to as a kid. After fending off a supervillain at a club, Kenny got his wish when he was taken in by the Confessor. Under the Confessor's guidance and polishing his skills as a martial artist and a detective, Kenny became the Altar Boy. Altar Boy eventually took the place of the Confessor, leaving his sidekick days behind. Captain America has had a slew of sidekicks over the decades, none being less known than Free Spirit. In the 90s, Cap met Kathy Webster, who found herself in the crosshairs of Baron Helmut Zemo. After seeing what Kathy was capable of, Captain America took her under his wing, and his new sidekick would become known as Free Spirit. Well, for some unknown reason, it's simply been years since her last canonical appearance. Free Spirit, more like Spirit Crushed. And there you have it, 10 comic book sidekicks you didn't even know existed. Or did you? Tell us in the comments section below, and be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons so you don't miss any companion comic content.